So recently, John Boyega came out in an interview and talked about how he would have changed the sequel trilogy. And to be honest, it kind of feels a little bit weird reviewing it just a little bit because I agree with almost everything that he has to say within this article. I'm going to get to it in just a second. But everything he has to say, I mainly agree with. It's just the fact that of it being a little too, it's like too little too late situation kind of thing where you're just kind of like, I wish you would have said this years ago. The sequels are almost 10 years old now. It's long due. It's long done. I wish that they would have said this back then. And one thing that I can agree with what he said here in this article is that he said for Luke, Han, and Leia, all their characters would have had a complete finished story if it was up to him. He also said that all of his characters, Finn, Rey, they wouldn't know how to do stuff. They would all have to learn, and they would not have this automatic OP sense that they kind of had in the sequel trilogy itself. He said that they're going to have to learn, they're going to have to struggle, and then they can finally have that passing a baton moment between them and to the new characters, which I can fully agree with. This is what I've said in the past. And what he means by creating and finishing out their story is that Luke, Han, and Leia, they all came first. And basically what he's trying to say is that he's going to respect their story by completing it, finishing it. This is what he would have done if he was in charge of Star Wars. They wouldn't have been doing what they did in the sequel trilogy. What we got in the sequel trilogy from these characters was complete and total BS. You had Han and Leia who were scared of their own son, and you also had Luke who's just scared of everything. He ran away on a complete and total different planet and was just scared the entire time. And this is not what Luke Skywalker would have done. Luke Skywalker would have been there in the fray with all of his friends fighting side by side all over again. He wouldn't have been hiding from the challenge. He never even hid from the challenge back when it was his father and the Emperor. So honestly, what made them think that he would run away from the challenge that he faced within the sequel trilogy honestly made no sense from a narrative standpoint, and it kind of did piss off me and a lot of fans. But I digress. I'm going to continue summarizing exactly what I see here from this article. But he did say that he would not make them nearly as powerful as they originally were. He said in the sequel trilogy, they kind of just figured things out on their own without having to train for it. You almost have to kind of take it from face value with this. They really didn't have to train for much of anything. And if you think about it from a character such as Superman, although Superman didn't have necessarily anybody to train him on how to be Superman, he kind of had to learn on his own. Superman still had a lot of trials and tribulations that he had to go through in order to fully become who he truly was, and that's Superman, and that's the Superman that we all know and love today. Let's also take in the most powerful character within Star Wars mythos, Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker, although was gaining a lot of power and had immense power and was the chosen one, he still went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I mean, his first fight against Dooku, he got absolutely embarrassed, and also at the same time when he had fully became Darth Vader later on in episode 3, he lost to Obi-Wan Kenobi, although he was immensely more powerful than him in that exact moment. But as powerful as Anakin Skywalker was, as I said, he still lost in those moments. That's completely contrast to what Rey went through. Although her small training arc that she went through with Luke Skywalker, she really didn't have to learn much of anything. She kind of just figured everything out on her own, which is also fine in its way, but it's just the way it was written. If it was executed just a little bit better, I believe that Rey would have been way more accepted as a character. I don't know if she would have been accepted as a Skywalker, but I digress about that part. Boyega also went on to say that he would have tried to establish more Star Wars lore into the Star Wars universe that we already have, and he also would have done it by trying to respect the already established Star Wars lore, and I cannot agree with this part most. This is the part that I think is so crucial to Star Wars. And the part that Disney absolutely messed up. I mean, when it comes to adding new lore to already established franchises, you cannot disrespect the past. You have to almost bring up the past and then also respect it to the T. But when it comes to expanding the universe and also adding in new things to Star Wars, John Boyega did say that he would want Luke, Leia, and Han to have had more of a bigger role. And he would have had them go out in almost like a blaze of glory. I mean, to be honest, it was a missed opportunity within the Star Wars sequels that they really didn't have too much to do with the story. He said he would want to give these characters way more, which I can agree with, and I honestly agree with almost everything that he has to say within this article. Actually, 100% of it. I always thought the idea of a secret apprentice that Darth Vader was training in secret coming to fruition in the future and having to bother and terrorize the future, I honestly think that that's a crazy idea. Like, that would have been cool if they would have been him and... Okay, I actually just got an idea for a video, so I'm actually going to leave that for another video, and I'm going to actually start working on that as soon as I get home from work tonight. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. May the force be with you guys, and as always, have a great rest of your day.